Do you think that it's possible, as we discussed off air, I think your political leaning is much more far left than right. Do you think it's possible for you to have friends from the other side of the political spectrum?
I do, absolutely I do. If they can defend why they vote right, or at least explain to me why they think it's important what the right people are saying, yeah, I think I could be friends with them.
This is nuanced. So we've had a huge population growth from many factors, which actually lately immigration is a big factor. Also, Dutch people, if you look at European averages, how many square meters we live on, I think European average is around 40 square meters and we have 60 square meters.
सारी बात है इस मुल्क में आए हैं अगर पाकिस्तान के हालात बेहतर होते तो आप उस वक्त आप क्या छोड़ना चाहते हैं पाकिस्तान को?
नहीं, पाकिस्तान कौन अपना कंट्री कोई भी नहीं छोड़ना चाहता। मसला यही है अगर आपको वहाँ पे आज़ादी मिल जाए, आपको ये हो कि आपकी ज़िंदगी सेफ है, तो आप कोई भी कंट्री नहीं छोड़ता कोई।
Example, I'm Belgian. The Belgian ultra-right party, Vlaams Belang, Flemish interest, they have just declared in the news that if they ever get to power, they have a politics of, and I quote, vengeance towards the left.
आप अगर काम कर रहे हो तो
ये तो इस्लाम का भी मेरे ख्याल में एक हदीस में शायद एक बात आती है, कल परसों ही सुनी थी कि जो हाथ देता है वो उस हाथ से बेहतर है जो लेता है। मैं रेफरेंस नहीं याद, लेकिन मैं अगर गलती में नहीं हूँ।
हाँ नहीं, ये बात भी बिल्कुल ठीक है, आपने भी सही कहा है कि ये इस्लाम में है और हम लोग देने वालों में से हैं, हम ना के लेने वालों में से हम।
Do you think you'd feel do you think it would be easier for you to make a decision if you knew politicians personally?
Yes. Yes, it would make a difference for me because none of them have my IDs, so I cannot choose one because I share the same concept of vision. So the only reason why I could vote for a politician would be just to happen to know this person.
Interesting.
तो लेकिन शुक्र अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह कि मुझे काम मिल गया, मैंने बात की, काफ़ी कंपनियों में इंटरव्यू भी दिए, उन्होंने यही डच में ही, सिर्फ डच की वजह से कि उन्होंने कहा आपके पास एक्सपीरियंस है लेकिन आपको मसला यही है कि डच आनी चाहिए, उस वजह से हुआ है बस.
En hoe gaat het nu met je Nederlands?
No is beter. No, ik spreek ook Nederlands.
Now, China spends 1.7% of its GDP on the military. There is no force big enough to invade us right now.
The XP2, the Extraordinary People podcast. Just type that in on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment. Great content coming out. This around the world in 80 days, around the world, doxing capes, around the world, Marsak Bain, around the world, we bathe in apes, around the world, stay at home.
Hey, Lisa, thank you for joining us. So how do you feel about the political situation, the elections on Wednesday?
I'm not entirely sure actually, because the last political situation in the Netherlands was very, very shady, if you ask me. It was very right and it didn't go well, and well, it blew up. So I'm curious if people have learned that it's not the way to vote all these right parties.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the most, regardless of which party you vote for, just whoever comes into power, what would be your main, like some of your main concerns, or what would you like them to tackle?
Well, the crisis about the houses would be great if they tackle it. But I follow the politics by Tim Hofman. He's a great explainer. And I think that if we go where we were with the politics, with the right stuff, and they'll just blame it on migration, actually, that it's not going to be tackled. But it would be great if they'd fix it and I could get a house someday. But
Yeah, I understand. So you're naturally worried about the future and finding.
Yeah, I am. And the climate would be great if they would give a little bit more attention to it.
So would, for example, as a complete outsider, if someone's super just like the main thing that they are concerned about is the climate, is the Green Party to go for that, or is there other parties? also that focus
Yeah,
on this?
GroenLinks, PvdA is a great one. D66 is also a great one.
Do you think that it's possible, as we discussed off air, I think your political leaning is much more far left than right. Do you think it's possible for you to have friends from the other side of the political spectrum?
I do, absolutely I do. If they can defend why they vote right, or at least explain to me why they think it's important what the right people are saying, yeah, I think I could be friends with them. I know, in fact, I could be friends with them. But they should be able to explain themselves. If they just say, oh, I don't know why I'm doing it, then I think, yeah, that's stupid.
No, but I appreciate that, and I think that that's important, right? That because what might be like a very pressing issue in the Randstad might not be a pressing issue, it may be in, like, I don't know, like you said, the east of the Netherlands or some other place, you know? So, and there was potential talks about budget cuts that might affect healthcare. How do you feel about that?
Very shitty. So I would not be happy if they do the budget cuts.
How would it affect you personally?
I don't know if it would affect me personally direct, but I work with people in a vulnerable position, people who are very, very autistic, people who are or have an extreme form of ADHD or have Down syndrome, and it's shitty if they cut the budget for the healthcare. I think we would feel it.
One last question I'd like to ask you in this regard is then that I think very often, if I think back to times that I've taken an interest in English politics, there's some points that a political party will focus on. So, for example, I remember that there was a party, Labour was at one point talking a lot about like rescinding tuition fees for university, and that became like the talking point. But I'm basically doubtful that any political party will be able to tackle all the major problems, and there's something that will naturally get pushed to the side. And if you had to, I don't know, say something that was a priority for you and something that isn't so much of a priority for you, and it can, there's no right or wrong answer, of course.
A priority for me is the climate, I think. And not a priority for me is, I don't know actually.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks. Okay, thank you.
Always.
Okay, so talk to me about the elections. How do you feel about them?
How do I feel about the elections? The most important issue in this election is something which isn't talked about a lot, and that is the increasing spending on defense. All parties, from the ultra-right until the center-left, want to increase military spending, despite the fact that it has increased by over a third in just a couple of years already. There are two parties only opposed to increased military spending, the Socialist Party and DENK, the Turkish minority party. All the other ones are in favor of increasing it. The Green Left Labour coalition says we will increase military spending until 5% of GDP, but it's not going to decrease spending on healthcare or education, on anything social, because we're going to finance it with debt. And to me that just seems unfair, because eventually debt needs to be paid. The Socialist Party and the Turkish minority party, they are fair. They're saying we're not increasing military spending and we're keeping healthcare, we're keeping education. The right-wing parties, they're also fair. They say we are decreasing spending on healthcare, we are decreasing spending on education and putting it in the military. That is an open choice which you can have. And while the center-left tries to have their cake and eat it too, whereas I feel like everybody on the left and everybody in general should be opposed to this increase in military spending.
Just out of interest, if there's, for example, people saying that with the state of the world and the increased state of things where maybe the military is more needed, how would you respond to that?
Is the military more needed? At this point in time, all European countries combined spend more than 4 times the amount which Russia spends on its military. All European countries spend around 2% of their GDP on military spending now. China spends 1.7% of its GDP on the military. There is no force big enough to invade us right now. It's something which doesn't exist, and we are silently allowing our entire military budget to be consumed by this feeling of a threat which politicians talk about. And I feel like it's the most important choice as a society which we are making now, and it's almost not talked about.
So I think I'll ask you these final questions, which is, do you think that, as in your opening statement, you mentioned a problem with military spending, and you mentioned kind of two sides of the political spectrum. Do you think that, I don't know, wherever your political leaning is, do you think people should be able to remain friends, and is dialogue, should it stay open between different parties? Because sometimes these things feel very polarized.
Yes, so should you keep connections with people who are opposed to you politically? I'd say yes, especially when we talk about regular people. Like I'm not talking about Thierry Baudet or Geert Wilders. I'm never going to be friends with those people. Like they have chosen their path in life, and I'm opposed to that. When we talk about the people who support them, like I try to be empathic towards their needs, but I feel like there's also a limit. Like if you start using violence, if you start using extremely vile languages against minorities, against sexual minorities or whatever, like there's an end to that.
No, I understand. I meant more in the sense of dialogue, just simple dialogue.
Yeah, I believe dialogue is important, but I also think we on the left are sometimes naive about that, and that there is no partner on the other side. For example, I'm Belgian. The Belgian ultra-right party, Vlaams Belang, Flemish Interest, they have just declared in the news that if they ever get to power, they have a politics of, and I quote, vengeance towards the left. So I feel like if I have an open hand towards them, I am being naive.
I get it. So hopefully, I hope that things change and people become more open-minded to each other. Good luck on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. मैं दूसरा ये पूछना चाहता था कि जहाँ तक ये आपने सुना होगा, आप भी मेरे ख्याल में आप पाकिस्तान से आए हैं, आपने माइग्रेट की है, तो जो इधर का जो फार राइट है वो काफ़ी इस वक्त काफ़ी खिंचा हुआ है, कहता है कि बहुत ज़्यादा लोग आ रहे हैं, हमारे स्पेस बहुत कम है इस मुल्क में, ये यूके में भी आपको पता है ऐसे ही है। तो आपके नज़दीक जो ऐसे लोग हैं उनको आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये थोड़ा सा सेंसिटिव है, बट मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि हम लोग जिन कंडीशंस में हम पाकिस्तान को लीव किया वो बेरेबल नहीं थी। अगर हम इनको बताएं, अगर हम इनको एक्सप्लेन करें, तो ये वो इमेजिन भी नहीं कर सकते जिन सिचुएशन से हम आए हैं। सो सबसे पहले हम वी आर लाइक बाय हार्ट वी आर थैंकफुल फॉर द नेदरलैंड्स कि उन्होंने हमें जगह दी यहाँ बैठने की, या यहाँ रहने की, यहाँ काम करने की। सो वी आर स्टिल स्ट्रगलिंग, हम पूरा इंटीग्रेट होने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। लैंग्वेज सीख रहा हूँ, मैं खुद अभी लैंग्वेज सीख रहा हूँ, उसके बाद मेरे कोलीग्स हैं, जॉब कर रहा हूँ, स्टडी कर रहा हूँ, सब कुछ इंटीग्रेट होने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। बट फार राइट कुछ देखें, जहाँ अच्छे लोग होते हैं वहाँ कुछ बुरे लोग भी होते हैं। सो अब मैं ये नहीं कह सकता कि हम सब बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छे हैं, कमियां सब में होती हैं। सो अगर हम डच लोगों की भी बात करें तो बुरे लोग उधर भी होंगे, अगर मैं अपने कंट्री की बात करूं तो बुरे लोग हम में भी हैं। सो इट्स नॉट लाइक दिस कि हम सब बहुत परफेक्ट हैं, बट ये अगर कहना कि सब ख़राब हैं और हम लोग यहाँ आके आपके मुल्क में रश डाल दिया या ये सारा कुछ कर दिया, तो मुझे नहीं लगता इट्स ट्रू। हम लोग खुद अपनी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं। हमारी अगर स्ट्रगल्स देखी जाएँ तो हम लोग जब आते हैं हमारा कल्चरल बहुत ज़्यादा डिफरेंस है हमें इंटीग्रेट करने में, बट वी आर ट्राइंग आवर बेस्ट।
और जहाँ तक इंटीग्रेशन की बात होती है, मेरे ख्याल में ये भी अहम है हमारे लिए कहना कि ज़ाहिर बात है आपकी जो कल्चर की अच्छी बातें हैं, आप ज़ाहिर बात है उनको आप अपने पास ही रखेंगे। जो आपको इधर की बातें अच्छी लगें, जो आप इधर से हासिल करेंगे वो आप अपने पास रखेंगे।
टोटली।
और ज़ाहिर बात है जहाँ आपको इंटीग्रेशन का भी एक हर चीज़, मिसाल के तौर पे मैं आप शराब नहीं पीते होंगे
जी,
तो ये लाजमी नहीं है कि आपको इंटीग्रेट करने के लिए शराब पीना आपके लिए
नहीं, इट डजंट मेक सेंस कि अगर मेरे साथ, क्योंकि मैं अगर नहीं पी रहा तो मेरे साथ अगर कोई बैठ के पी रहा, सो मैं माइंड नहीं करूँगा, ठीक है, क्योंकि मैं नहीं पी रहा, इट्स माई डिसीजन। अगर वो पी रहा तो इट्स देयर डिसीजन, आई रिस्पेक्ट दैट, ठीक है। मैं उस पर ये नहीं कहूँगा कि आप क्यों पी रहे हो या आपको नहीं पीनी चाहिए, या मैं उस पर, और वो मुझे भी नहीं कहेगा کہ آپ اگر کیونکہ یہاں میں نے دیکھا ہے جب ہم لوگ اکثر جب میں اپنی جاب کی پارٹیز وغیرہ میں جو ہماری ہوتی ہیں اس پہ جاتا ہوں تو اس میں وہ اکثر لوگ جو کیونکہ وہاں اٹس اے کلچر اینڈ آئی ٹوٹلی رسپیکٹ دیٹ کہ وہاں وہ سب ڈرنک کرتے ہیں, بٹ آئی ایم سٹنگ دیئر, میں وہاں کولا یا کوئی اور چیز جو ہوتی ہے میں وہ پی لوں گا تو وہ بھی میری رسپیکٹ کرتے ہیں. سو کلچر اٹس یعنی کہ میں ان کے رسپیکٹ اور وہ میری رسپیکٹ, دیٹس میٹر.
ویری گڈ. میں آپ کو میں ان کے لیے یہ بات کر رہا ہوں کہ آپ نے ایک چیز ذہن میں رکھی تھی کہ آپ نے یہ کرنا ہے اور پھر آپ نے ماشاء اللہ کر رہے ہیں.
ہاں جی, وہ سی وی تھی یہاں پہ ہے کہ لوگ کہتے ہیں کہ آپ پاکستان سے آئے ہیں تو وہ ہوتا ہے کہ آپ کو پتہ نہیں ہے یہاں پہ کام کیسے کرنا ہے, یہاں پہ لینگویج کا بیریئر آ جاتا ہے. لیکن لینگویج بیریئر یہاں پہ اتنا نہیں ہے ہالینڈ میں, کیونکہ آپ کو انگلش اگر آتی ہے تو لینگویج بیریئر کوئی معنی نہیں رکھتا, کیونکہ ہر بندے کو یہاں پہ انگلش آتی ہے اور آپ انگلش میں بات کر سکتے ہو. لیکن مجھے یہی مسئلہ آ رہا ہے کہ لینگویج کا ہی. وہ کہتے تھے ڈچ بولو, ڈچ میں کرو, تو لیکن شکر الحمدللہ کہ مجھے کام مل گیا. میں نے بات کی, کافی کمپنیوں میں انٹرویو بھی دیے, انہوں نے یہی ڈچ میں ہی, صرف ڈچ کی وجہ سے کہ انہوں نے کہا آپ کے پاس ایکسپیرینس ہے لیکن آپ کو مسئلہ یہی ہے کہ ڈچ آنی چاہیے. اس وجہ سے ہوا ہے بس.
En hoe gaat het nu met je Nederlands?
No is beter. No, ik spreek ook Nederlands.
En hoe is het met je oefenen? Misschien ga je voor een les of met Duolingo of wat is die manier?
Ja, ik ga naar school gaan. Daar ik leren Nederlands. En ik praat Nederlands ook. Leren, schrijven. Nu is beter. Nu ik begrijp, maar moeilijk te praten. Beetje moeilijk.
Also, vind je dat is meer makkelijk om te lezen?
Ja, lezen is makkelijk. Leren ook geen probleem. Maar het probleem is spreken. Jij begrijpen, maar je vertellen een beetje moeilijk.
Ja.
Nu is beter. Jij oefening doen, dan is beter dan beter. Alles.
Ik snap het. En ik ga praten in het Urdu nogmaals. جو میں کہنا چاہ رہا تھا کہ آپ کے جو جذبات ہیں پاکستان چھوڑنے کے, وہ ظاہری بات ہے, ایک آپ ایک الگ ملک میں آئے ہیں, ایک اور کلچر ہے. میں اب ہمارے جو چھوٹا بھائی رائم, اس کو بھی پوچھا تھا کہ آپ جب ظاہری بات ہے اس ملک میں آئے ہیں, اگر پاکستان کے حالات بہتر ہوتے تو آپ اس وقت آپ کیا چھوڑنا چاہتے پاکستان کو؟
نہیں, پاکستان کون اپنا کنٹری کوئی بھی نہیں چھوڑنا چاہتا. مسئلہ یہی ہے اگر آپ کو وہاں پہ آزادی مل جائے, آپ کو یہ ہو کہ آپ کی زندگی سیف ہے, تو آپ کوئی بھی کنٹری نہیں چھوڑتا. کوئی بھی صرف مشکلات میں چھوڑنی پڑتی ہیں. مسئلہ تو یہی ہے, اگر آپ کو وہاں پہ تحفظ مل جائیں تو آپ وہیں پہ جائیں گے, ڈیفینیٹلی سب وہیں پہ واپس جائیں گے.
تو ادھر آپ کو پتہ ہوگا شاید کوئی اور آؤٹ ہوا ہے بھائی خوش ہو رہے ہیں. نہیں, جو کیا کہتے ہیں اسے, جو ادھر کل پرسوں ٹین ہاگ میں جلوس نکلے تھے فار رائٹ کے, تو وہ یہی کہتے ہیں کہ مائیگرنٹس کیوں ادھر آ رہے ہیں. ان کے اپنے ظاہری بات ہے, ان کے اپنے ہیں جذبات.
وہ تو ایسے ہی ہے, کیونکہ جو مائیگریٹ آتے ہیں ان میں برے لوگ بھی آتے ہیں. یہ نہیں ہے کہ سارے اچھے ہی آتے ہیں. مائیگریٹ میں یہ ہوتا ہے کہ کوئی کرمنل بھی آ جاتے ہیں جن کا صرف مائنڈ یہ ہوتا ہے کہ میں نے ڈسٹریکٹ کرنا سب کو. اس کا یہ نہیں ہوتا کہ میں پیسفل رہوں, باقی جو پیسفل رہ رہے ہیں ان کو بھی پیسفل رہنے دو. لیکن جو کوئی غلط بھی آتے ہیں اس لیے بنتا ہے. لیکن یہ ہے کہ مائیگریٹ سارے نہیں برے ہوتے, ان میں ایک دو گندے ہو ہی جاتے ہیں.
جیسے ہم ایک کمیونٹی کے ایک حصے ہیں, ہم ایک دوسرے کا دیکھ بھال بھی کرتے ہیں. تو اگر ہمیں پتہ چلے کہ ہم میں سے کوئی ایسے کام کر رہا ہے جو حکومت کے خلاف ہے, تو ہمیں کیا بولنا چاہیے اس کے بارے میں؟
ہم ڈیفینیٹلی اس سے بات کریں گے کہ نہیں, ایسا نہیں کرنا چاہیے. میں اپنی آپ کو رائے دوں گا, میں کسی کی نہیں. اگر میں دیکھوں گا کوئی بھی برا کر رہا ہے تو میں اس کو ڈیفینیٹلی کہوں گا کہ نہیں, یہ اگر آپ کو انہوں نے رہائش دی ہے, آپ کو سارا کچھ دے رہے ہیں, آپ کو اپنی کنٹری میں رہنے دے رہے ہیں, سب سے بڑی بات ہے کہ آپ کو اجازت دیتے ہیں کہ آپ یہاں پہ اپنا کام کرو, کھاؤ پیو, جو سکون سے رہو, اور دوسروں کو بھی سکون سے رہنے دو. تو آپ کو نہیں کرنا چاہیے.
اور جو میرا مقصد یہی ہے, یہ بیسکلی دکھانے کا کہ جو لوگ فار رائٹ وغیرہ کے ہیں, کہ جو لوگ ادھر سے آتے ہیں ان کو کسی قسم کی کوئی بری نیت نہیں ہے. وہ ادھر آ کے کسی کو تنگ نہیں کرنا چاہتے نہ. جو ادھر کی اچھی باتیں ہیں میرے خیال میں آپ ان کو اپنانا چاہیں گے.
ہاں جی بالکل, کیوں نہیں. اگر آپ کسی کنٹری میں آئے ہو, کوئی بھی ہے, میں یہ نہیں کہوں گا کہ آپ ہالینڈ میں ہو, صرف ہالینڈ سے باہر بھی ہو, آپ جس بھی کنٹری میں ہو, آپ اس کے جو قانون ہے اس کے حساب سے چلو, ان کے ہر قانون کو فالو کرو. और कोशिश करो कि काम करो ताकि किसी पे बोझ ना बनो। आप अगर खुद काम कर रहे हो तो आपको बहुत सारी सहूलियत भी देते हैं ये लोग। ये नहीं है कि आप सिर्फ उनके पैसे लेके उनसे खाते रहो, लेकिन आप अगर काम कर रहे हो तो उनको
तो ये तो इस्लाम का भी मेरे ख्याल में एक हदीस में शायद एक बात आती है, कल परसों ही सुनी थी कि जो हाथ देता है वो उस हाथ से बेहतर है जो लेता है। मैं रेफरेंस नहीं याद, लेकिन मैं अगर गलती में नहीं हूँ।
हाँ नहीं, ये बात भी बिल्कुल ठीक है, आपने भी सही कहा है कि ये इस्लाम में है और हम लोग देने वालों में से हैं, हम ना के लेने वालों में से। हम कोशिश करें जो भी आया है, मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि आप हाँ शुरुआत में मुश्किलात होती हैं कि आपको वो लेना पड़ता है। अगर मैं अपनी माइंडसेट में देखूं तो मैं जब आया था मैं सिर्फ यही कोशिश करता था कि मैं एक तो लैंग्वेज सीखूं, दूसरा कोई ना कोई काम तलाश करूं। मुझे लगा है 2-3 साल लग गए हैं काम तलाश करते में, क्योंकि मेरी लैंग्वेज बैरियर आ रहा था। इंग्लिश भी मेरी इतनी बहुत अच्छी नहीं है, मैं आपको ऐसे कहूँ कि मैं इंग्लिश बोल लेता हूँ, हाँ बोल लेता हूँ, समझ लेता हूँ, लेकिन उस लिहाज से नहीं है कि वर्किंग के।
मैं समझ।
इसलिए फिर मैंने कोशिश की है, तो मुझे शुक्र अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं अब काम कर रहा हूँ।
आपके एम्प्लॉयर से मैं गुजारिश करूंगा, मैं साथ ही रहता हूँ, मुझे आके ज़रा वो मौका दें ज़रा कार के बारे में वीडियो बनाने की, कि हमारे भी जो व्यूअर्स हैं वो सीखें कि इसमें क्या होता है। लेकिन सारी बात है वो उनकी इजाज़त पे होगा।
वो बिल्कुल, क्योंकि कंपनी है, मेरा अपना गराज होता तो मैं आपको कह देता कि आए मोस्ट वेलकम, लेकिन मैं उनसे बात करूँगा और आपको अगर उन्होंने इजाज़त दे दी तो फिर मैं बुलाऊँगा, ज़रूर बुलाऊँगा।
बहुत शुक्रिया आपके वक्त का, जज़ाकल्लाह, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। ये जो आपने
Martijn, thank you for joining me today. How are you feeling in the lead up to tomorrow's election?
Well, what I think about the election is that it's very hard to make a decision. I'm the one who never votes. I'm always, I can talk about politics for hours, and I do a lot of study, and I read a lot, and I have a lot of ideas about how we can improve and create a multicultural society. And well, but it's very difficult to make a choice between parties which exist of people you don't know, you have never met them, and have no idea what to vote for.
Do you think you'd feel? Do you think it would be easier for you to make a decision if you knew politicians personally?
Yes, yes, it would make a difference for me because none of them have my ideas, so I cannot choose one because I share the same concept of vision. So the only reason why I could vote for a politician would be just to happen to know this person.
Interesting. Which issues do you think which issues are on your mind when you think about a new government? Do you think like housing? Is it budget cuts? Is it climate? What specifically to you is important from a new party or a new government?
Well, these are a lot of things. One is, for example, that people who have the steady jobs and contracts. This is great people. It's not about the people are not great. All people, they are great, but they are like in charge of the market. And I think they should not be. I think it's important. The whole concept of success of economy is that we are flexible, and all these people who are flexible, they should take the lead to create changes, to improve, to innovate. So this should be, for example, the other way around. Just to one example.
I was talking to someone yesterday who was worried about increases in military spending.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think about?
I don't think about military spending at all, but well, obviously it's a point that the United States spent 8 trillion military budget. No, the military spending budgets, in my opinion, are for the military, which is fine. They know what to spend and where they need to do it for. And I don't think this should be done by politicians. They don't need to think about that.
One important question I have is, I don't know, as obvious that you don't have, it sounds like you don't really know where to vote, but if you had to, I guess, pick a place on the political spectrum, do you think that you could be friends or associate with people who are on the other side of the political spectrum?
Yeah, that's possible, because if you, it's possible, because it's not just about having an opinion, it's also about influencing opinions of other people who have different opinions. And also, it doesn't make sense just to form a group with only people who share the same thoughts, and then to believe that you are the ones who is saving the planet. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Martijn, and good luck for tomorrow's vote.
Yeah, thank you.
3, 2, 1. But happy birthday.
Thank you, Migrants.
Thank you for being here with me today. Tomorrow, as you know, are the Dutch elections.
I thought today was the big day, but yeah, it's tomorrow.
Today is also a big day,
Yeah,
of course.
thank you.
Yeah, talk to me. How do you feel about it, if at all, if any feelings?
It's strange. Like, I wish I could really support one party, because I have friends who are really either in one camp or the other, and it's like watching football. Like, if you're really for one party, then it's way more exciting, and they're like, oh, like you have the highs and the lows. Like, I care about politics, but there's not one party that I feel really represents me, so that makes it very hard to be very excited.
And for yourself, what are some priorities that you would hope a future government or party takes care of?
I think something we should really consider is wealth inequality, which we definitely do not talk often enough about. Maybe also because it can get quite technical, because you need to know a little bit of economics, a little bit about tax regulation, etc. The reason why I think this is a very important topic is that a lot of other topics flow out of it. So, for example, housing crisis is because some people, or like a particular group, owns more houses than other people, and also some people might feel that there's a lot of racism and they're not getting opportunities, but maybe the thing that they are truly getting screwed over is more economic inequality. And in the Netherlands, income inequality is actually not that high, but wealth inequality is one of the highest of developed countries. So we should talk about that way more often.
No, nice. Okay, it's good to find out what your priority is. Is with the housing thing, is land not an issue? I mean, is there enough space to continue building and stuff like that, in your opinion?
So this is nuanced. So we've had a huge population growth from many factors, which actually lately immigration is a big factor.
Yeah.
Also, Dutch people, if you look at European averages, how many square meters we live on, I think European average is around 40 square meters, and we have 60 square meters per person. So we actually have quite a large amount of housing. And also the correlation between house prices and housing shortage isn't really there. So it's not just a house shortage, it's also how many square meters we have and who owns the houses. Still, these are things that are maybe not that easy to change. If I would build more new houses as a government, I would try to focus more on building houses outside of the Randstad, on the cosmopolitan West, to spread people out more over the country, combined with other policies like transferring some faculties of universities there, or in the Netherlands already regulated by law that you're allowed to work from home. Stress on this more, make it more, increase awareness of it. We are currently working in an incredibly nice co-working place.
Yeah, seats to me.
It can be an idea for the government to establish locations like this more in the provinces, so people have a cool place for young professionals to meet there. It also make that more attractive. And because I think a risk you run as the Netherlands when you try to solve the housing shortage by just building more in the West, it's already very densely populated, there's not that much nature anymore, and people, we also need to have access to nature, whereas the east and north is more depopulating. And if you just build more in the West and make more affordable houses there, great, but then you increase two other problems. And I think we should also think about, can we have our cake and eat it too, our birthday cake?
Thank you so much. I think one final question I'll ask you is, I'm assuming that you have, even if you can't vote for a party, you probably have maybe one leaning towards one side of the political spectrum more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, can you be friends with people who have the opposite opinions and different opinions to you?
Yeah, sure. Like, you need to be able to agree to disagree, and acknowledge that we are not our faults and not our ideas. So it's almost spiritual. Don't identify with what you believe in. Don't think the other person who disagrees with you is evil or stupid, because they're not. I know many great people that I completely disagree with.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.